Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Tuesday afternoon. The Texas A&M commitment sweatshirt comes back on, and we have another monster win for Mike Elko and Texas A&M on the recruiting trail. Four-star running back KJ Edwards committing to Texas A&M. If you had any question marks about Mike Elko's ability to recruit at a high level in the SEC, those question marks have to be washed away. And I look at Texas A&M in the 2026 cycle and say there's a very good chance that we're talking about a top 3 class in the country when it's all said and done on signing day. And I look at KJ Edwards and I say, one, massive shout out to Trooper Taylor and what he's doing, loading up this running back room. Then I'm talking about KJ Edwards and saying just a difference maker on Saturdays for the next couple of years for Texas A&M. And what stands out to me the most about KJ Edwards, there are some elite traits that KJ Edwards brings to the table. I think most notably the short area quickness. This kid is a human joystick out on the football field, by far the best short area quickness that you see in the running back position in the 2026 cycle. And then you look at, hey, what does he need to work on? What are the holes in his game? I'll say this, they ain't many. Like, this is a box checking running back that does almost everything you want at an extremely high level, translates to the SEC very, very well. Big boy recruitment going head to head against Texas for a top kid in the state of Texas and winning out. These are the kind of recruitment wins that win you championships. That's probably the best way to put it. Going to get into KJ Edwards. Going to talk about where Mike Elko and Texas A&M are going on the recruiting trail. Before we do, and as always, to the Texas A&M fans, I think the number one, I want to say thank you. It's been really fun talking this program, especially on the recruiting trail. The amount of support that y'all have shown the boys has been amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Much more importantly, for the Texas A&M fans who follow the recruiting trail pretty dang closely, buckle in, because there are going to be what I think are a lot of fireworks over the next couple of days for this program on the recruiting trail. Without further ado, let's get into KJ Edwards. Now, this is what you love about KJ Edwards is you turn on the film and say he's a box checker. This is a guy that is almost impossible to tackle at the high school level. Then you look at the production. There's just not been many running backs across the country that have produced more than KJ Edwards at the high school ranks. Over 4,000 total rushing yards during his career, averaging 11.2 yards per carry, 54 touchdowns. He also catches the football very well out of the backfield, 48 catches for 553 yards in his career. The boxes are all checked with KJ Edwards. Now you get into what you love about this kid's game. I think one, it's the short area quickness. I mean, when he is in tight spaces, kind of between the tackles, he's about as elusive as it gets. He makes a lot of linebackers look silly trying to tackle this kid. Then when he gets to the second level, yeah, he can make him miss in space, and he has that breakaway speed as well. I wouldn't call this kid a burner, but you look at the track and field background and say 11-second 100-meter dash, just about as fast as any running back that you see in the country in the 2026 cycle. This kid can run away from you when he gets to that third level and hit those home run plays. I think the second part I love about it is what a perfect fit with Jonathan Haddon, the other running back committed for Texas A&M. Haddon probably a little bit more of a linear guy, not as much short area quickness, but he's 200 plus pounds. He runs a 10.65 in the 100-meter dash. Two running backs that are both very good, that offer you some different skill sets. It's what you're looking for in the running back room. And I think why it's so important for Texas A&M to land two studs in the running back room in this 2026 cycle is, hey, we want to run the football at Texas A&M. This is a program that is going to recruit the offensive line at a high level and want to control the line of scrimmage. Best thing to go along with an elite offensive line, damn good running backs. And I think Texas A&M is doing that. I was a big fan of the class they brought in 2025. I'm an even bigger fan of what they're bringing in 2026. The thing I love most about Texas A&M and what they're doing on the recruiting trail is not only are they winning for these high-profile kids at the high school ranks, they're also doing it, and it's very clear to see the plan that Mike Elko has. It's like, it felt like at times Jimbo Fisher was just grabbing 5 stars to grab 5 stars, and there wasn't really a plan in terms of how we want to build this roster. I think it's very clear the plan that Mike Elko has in terms of how he wants this program to look from a personnel standpoint, and he's grabbing really good football players that fit what Texas A&M wants to do. You can't ask for anything more than that. And I keep gone like kind of harkening back, you might say, to what I think's the key for Mike Elko. If you give Mike Elko consistent, top rosters in the country, I have very much confidence that Mike Elko is going to be able to put it together and compete at the highest level of the sport. You're seeing him do it on the recruiting trail. Very confident that the results will follow, because I think Mike Elko, from a pure football coach standpoint, I don't think there's many better in the country. That's why I was such a big fan of him coming into Texas A&M. Now, I probably talked a little bit longer than I should. I just want to dive into a little bit of the junior year film. This kid is a workhorse at the high school level, and the film it's so fun to watch. And one of the things here, he's listed at 180 pounds. It sounds like he's closer to 195, 200 pounds. He runs much bigger than that. I mean, this guy that the contact balance really, really good. And again, when it's time to step on the gas and run away from defensive backs, it's right there on the film. Like he can run away from anybody in the country. You continue. I mean, you talk about short area quickness. This linebacker trying to fill in the hole. We're going to make him look silly right here. Absolutely make him look silly. And again, your safety, it takes a bad angle. We're running right by you. What does KJ Edwards not do at a very high level? Can't really answer that question, especially as he's added some good weight. He was probably a little bit of a smaller running back going into his junior year. Doesn't look much heavier than 185 pounds on the film. Apparently, he's closer to 200 pounds, and you see it with the contact balance. His ability, especially in traffic, to have those short area quicks and just make people miss and stay on his feet, it's really impressive. And then the last thing I'll say, I feel like he's got great feel at the running back position. That's hard to quantify, but when you watch the film, he's just really patient, knows how to pick his spots. And when it's time to kind of punch it and run away from people, he can run away from anybody in the country. And I think that's what's most impressive about KJ Edwards. We could watch 10 minutes of this. I think y'all get the point. KJ Edwards, damn good football player, and Texas A&M is going to have a darn good running back room over the next couple of years. Top 5 class in the country. All right, where do we go from here? Well, that's the next question. We got some momentum on the trail. Let's keep this sucker rolling, right? Let's talk about Brandon Arrington. Now, is it maybe a little bit concerning that he's committing before he takes his official visit to Texas A&M, committing on June 19th? Yeah, maybe. But I also think he's been at Texas A&M a lot over the last 12 to 18 months. And Mike Elko's done a great job recruiting the state of California. Talk about fit. Talk about what Mike Elko values as defensive backs. Size and speed. And Brandon Arrington has it both in a big time way. 6'2", buck 80, extremely long arms, 10-2 in the 100-meter dash, probably the fastest player in the 2026 class, regardless of position. This is a guy that fits the prototype that Texas A&M wants in their cornerback room. We'll see how that one goes. I think another one to monitor. He's committing in the next week. Tristan Givens, 5-star edge rusher. This kid's really fun. He's a little bit raw. I would say kind of a player comp would probably be Cassius Howell, because his burst off the line of scrimmage, rushing off the edges, is elite. He's a guy that transitioned from being a pass catcher early on in his high school career to coming off the edge, and you can tell he's got that juice coming off the edge. This kid could be a pass rush specialist for Texas A&M over the next couple of years. That's between Texas A&M and Tennessee. And then, again, last one that we're monitoring, I would say the crown jewel for Texas A&M in the 2026 cycle is Lamar Brown. And what's the blueprint for Mike Elko? We want to dominate the line of scrimmage. Go look at Georgia. Go look at Alabama when they were ripping off SEC championships. What do those programs have in common? What do all the programs that have won SEC championships, what do they all have in common? They've all won it in different ways with different kind of quarterbacks and different offenses. They've all had elite line of scrimmage play, specifically on the defensive line. I think Lamar Brown is by far the best interior defensive lineman in the 2026 cycle. I think Mike Elko would agree, and they are doing everything they can to lock him in this 2026 cycle. Top 3 class in the country is not crazy, and we'll see how high Texas A&M can kind of get, I guess you'd say. And the last thing I'll say is if Texas A&M puts it together on the football field, it could get even better. we'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.